Do you remember the time when it was men who took the lead, when the norm was to treat her like a queen just to maybe get her attention? That's over. Today, everything has flipped. Now it's women desperately looking for a man who doesn't justify himself, who doesn't react emotionally, who knows his own worth and doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. The game has changed, brother, and if you haven't learned how to play yet, you're still stuck on the losing side. Take a deep breath and listen closely. A high-value man doesn't argue, doesn't beg, doesn't cry. He simply acts. And what makes him most powerful is that he does it in silence. While most guys stay trapped in the need to explain their feelings, the high-value man moves with strategic coldness, not to hurt, but to assert himself with respect. He's understood something the majority only realizes too late. Not everything gets fixed by talking, and not every disrespect deserves a response. In fact, very often, responding is exactly what makes you lose your authority. When you explain yourself, when you justify, when you try to be understood, you automatically put yourself in an inferior position. A high-value man doesn't need to be understood. He needs to be respected. And respect isn't negotiated, it's demonstrated through actions. He's realized it's not his voice that needs to be heard first, but hers. Not to hand her control, but because he knows how to observe. He reads silences, gestures, subtle shifts in attitude, and from that observation, he makes decisions. The real punishment isn't delivered through shouting or long WhatsApp essays. It comes through silence, through absence, through calmly withdrawing everything he used to give unconditionally. No reproaches, no complaints, no drama, just a clean, firm, final step back. This message isn't spoken, it's felt. It's delivered through a steady gaze that demands no explanation, asks for nothing, and offers nothing more. A high-value man doesn't waste energy trying to teach someone who doesn't deserve it. He doesn't try to educate, correct, or convince. He simply sets consequences. And when a woman truly feels the weight of his genuine absence, not the theatrical kind, not the conflict kind, but the real, tangible loss of access to him, that's when she starts seriously questioning everything she's done. Because as long as you were there to fix things, help out, stay available, she got used to it. And when it all vanishes without warning, without threats, without speeches, the impact hits much harder. This message is for you who are tired of being emotionally manipulated, for you who've realized that real power doesn't come from arguing better, but from knowing when to walk away, for you who understand that silence, when used right, has more strength than 1,000 words. Stick around until the end. Today on Relationship Psychology, you're going to discover how a high-value man commands respect without raising his voice or sending a single text until she's the one desperately chasing what she used to take for granted. And if you're truly committed to this shift, drop the words "I'm going to change" in the comments so we can see how many men are ready to put themselves first once and for all. Let's get into it. The first move that truly separates winners from the rest is withdrawing your benefits without giving any explanation. Most men, when they feel disrespected or challenged, make the exact same mistake. They talk too much, try to express what they feel, justify their actions, demand to be understood, or create drama thinking it'll help them regain control. And that's precisely the moment they lose everything. By explaining yourself, you place yourself in weakness because you're seeking validation from someone who already disrespected you. A high-value man never announces he's going to become less available. He doesn't threaten to leave, doesn't turn his withdrawal into emotional blackmail. He just acts. That hand you always extended, it's no longer there. That last-minute help she took for granted, it doesn't come this time. That constant attention fades away, and all of it happens without a single word. That's where the real power lies. When you silently remove your benefits, you create an emotional void that forces her to think. She starts wondering, what happened? What changed? Since when doesn't she have you on speed dial anymore? She replays conversations, analyzes gestures, digs through old messages looking for clues, and the more she searches for answers, the more emotionally invested she becomes, even if it's through frustration. This isn't twisted manipulation, it's basic psychology. The brain hates a vacuum and needs to fill it. You stop chasing, stop explaining, you become the vacuum. A lot of men don't get that benefits create attachment. When you're always the one fixing everything, always listening, always there no matter what, you become part of her routine. But when you quietly disappear, no bitterness, no accusations, she feels the real weight of your absence. This isn't about throwing tantrums or ghosting to get attention. It's about giving a mature response. If she doesn't value what you offer, you stop offering it. And most importantly, You owe no one an explanation. You're not punishing. You're protecting yourself. You're clearly, elegantly, but firmly signaling that you won't keep pouring energy into someone who doesn't respect you. And when she realizes it, when she sees you're no longer a safe option or an endless resource, something shifts. She feels she's lost something rare, and often she comes back, not just for comfort, but out of genuine concern. If you're fed up with her playing games, throwing jabs, disappearing, then reappearing like nothing happened, it's time to change the rules. Not with reproaches, not with explanations, but with pure consistency. Because a high-value man doesn't try to control anyone else. He controls himself, and when he does, everything around him starts falling into place. The next key lies in how, or rather, how you choose not to, respond to provocations and jealousy games. A lot of women test boundaries this way. They post stories with another guy, suddenly reply coldly, or casually drop someone else's name just to watch your reaction. Not necessarily because they want that other guy, but to check if they still have power over you. They want to see you get upset, justify yourself, compete, and the second you do, you've lost. A high-value man spots this tactic from a mile away and chooses not to play. He doesn't get angry, doesn't get jealous. He doesn't join the game, he simply stays himself. And nothing hits harder for someone craving attention than getting none. She expected nervousness, an emotional outburst, to see you rattled, but your energy stays steady and it throws her off completely. Because when you don't react, the message is crystal clear, even unspoken. I don't need to compete. I don't need to prove anything. I don't need your validation. That creates deep unease. For someone who feeds on attention, indifference is devastating. Not because it's cruel, but because it breaks the control. She tried to steer the situation and didn't get the outcome she wanted. That's where most men mess up. They think ignoring means pretending not to care or acting tough. Not at all. It's emotional maturity. When you refuse to compete, refuse to justify, refuse to seek approval, you show that your worth doesn't depend on what she does or doesn't do. You clearly signal you won't tolerate emotional games disguised as provocations. She tried to shake you emotionally. You stayed centered. That disarms any attempt at control. A man who governs his emotions radiates quiet strength. It's like he's saying without words, I see what you're trying to do, and it doesn't touch me. And even if it doesn't look like much, it has far more impact than any argument. Deep down, a woman who provokes isn't looking for conflict. She's looking to confirm she still influences you, that she matters, that she's desired. When she gets no reaction, doubt creeps in. That internal doubt flips the dynamic. It's no longer you wondering what's happening. It's her. No need for debates, no need for passive-aggressive texts, no need to hit back. Just keep living your life. Train, work, push your projects, hang with friends, enjoy your time. If you post anything, let it be because you're living, not to provoke. That proves your inner peace is your priority, and anyone who tries to disturb it loses access to your attention. Your attention is a luxury, even if many don't realize it. And when she sees she's no longer the center of your world, her ego takes a serious hit. That's when real change begins. Paradoxically, the less you react to these childish games, the more she starts seeing you as someone valuable, stable, and hard to replace. Then comes an even more common trap, the urge to compete for her attention. When a lot of men feel a woman pulling away, they transform. They try to be funnier, more interesting, flashier. They overdo it, exaggerate their personality, try to stand out against other guys. They call it charisma. It's not. It's desperation in disguise, and it's instantly noticeable. A woman senses when a man is fighting for her spot, and at that moment, attraction starts dying, because the guy exhausting himself to prove he belongs is already beneath her. A high-value man never enters that dynamic. He doesn't compete. He observes and decides. If she tries to provoke with over-the-top stories, public flirting, or venomous comments, he stays out. His attention isn't on sale. Either it's valued or it's gone. He doesn't argue, doesn't explain, doesn't try to convince. His value shows in how he behaves, not what he says. The real shift happens when you stop trying to win her over and start selecting. Then you're no longer one more guy battling for a place in her life. You're the man who decides who gets his time, and that changes everything. If she compares you to others, you don't bite. If she mentions some guy who invited her out, you smile and keep the conversation going or change the subject. If she throws out, "At least so-and-so does this for me," your best move is to not engage that field. Competition only exists if you accept to play. When you decline, you've already won. Your confidence becomes obvious. Staying calm in the face of any provocation shows your self-esteem is rock solid, that you know what you want, and you don't need her attention to feel complete. And that triggers a primal fear. The fear of losing a man who never begs. High-value men don't make noise, don't chase approval. Their mere presence already communicates everything. And that calm, that mystery, generates desire far stronger than any performance. While others fight for a spot, you keep moving forward. And in that silence, she starts wondering if she's about to lose someone who was worth way more than she thought. There's something more unsettling than any big argument, when the person you expected to react simply doesn't. Silence, when it comes from true self-mastery and not resentment, becomes a very powerful psychological tool. Not because it's mean, but because it shatters the script the other person had in mind. She expected explanations. She expected complaints. She expected an attempt to fix things. She expected to see you change. And when none of that happens, when all she gets is calm and distance, her inner world starts to unravel. The average man under tension talks too much, argues, justifies, clarifies things no one even asked him to clarify. He thinks he's fixing something when in reality he's handing over his power. The high-value man understands that not every situation deserves a response and that not every silence is indifference. Sometimes silence is a conscious choice. It's refusing to play an immature emotional game. It's stepping back with dignity. That silence isn't passive. It's character. It's saying without words that you don't accept this treatment, that you won't lower yourself, that you don't need to defend yourself. It's taking a step back and letting the other person face their actions alone. And that hurts more than any fight because there's no opponent to battle, no apologies, no accusations, no noise. All that's left is reflection. A woman used to men who always explain, always chase, always try to fix everything gets completely destabilized by your silence because it gives her nothing to grab onto. It just creates space for regret to grow. It forces her to think, to remember, to review what she did without external distractions. It's a mirror that doesn't lie and can't be broken by talking. And here's the key piece. Silence plants doubt. She starts wondering if you got tired, if she no longer matters, if there's someone else, if she went too far. Those questions don't fade easily. They loop, they build, they take up space in her mind. You're no longer there trying to convince her. You're living your life, and that distance makes her feel she's losing control. Next comes another crucial test, learning to say no with elegance. Not with anger, not with sarcasm, not with blame. A calm, firm, respectful no. Today I can't. I already have plans. Another day works better for me. Without long explanations or useless apologies. Simple, but extremely powerful, because that no communicates something very clear. My time has value, and I am my own priority. It's not about rejecting her harshly. It's about not abandoning yourself. Many women are used to men who cancel everything to see them, who say yes to any plan just to avoid losing them. And when someone shows up who doesn't move off his axis, who doesn't sacrifice his life for approval, it's felt, not in the ego, but in respect. That polite, drama-free no teaches more than any lecture because what really disturbs isn't the rejection itself. It's realizing she's no longer automatically first place. When she perceives you're no longer a guaranteed option, that now she has to earn your time, the whole dynamic flips. She starts wondering if she messed up, if she should get closer, if she's losing ground. A man who over-explains radiates insecurity. A man who says no harshly seems bitter. But a man who refuses calmly and keeps walking leaves a deep impression because that's where doubt is born. Even if she acts indifferent, those questions keep spinning. And the more you choose yourself, the more value you project because what's rare becomes desired. Saying no with class isn't just turning down an invitation, it's sending a silent message. I'm not always available anymore. Now I choose. And when a man chooses himself, that's often when a woman starts running after what she senses she might lose. Finally, what truly solidifies all of this is subtle scarcity. Not disappearing completely, not cutting all contact, not playing punishment games that often reeks of anger or insecurity. True scarcity is natural. It's the result of a full, purposeful, busy life. The average man is glued to his phone, replies instantly, is always available. The high-value man replies when he can, talks when he wants, isn't constantly waiting. He's not doing it to manipulate. He's not following an artificial strategy. His life is simply so complete that his time has become limited. And when a woman senses she no longer has unlimited access to you, something activates, not because you're ignoring her, but because your interest exists without being guaranteed. It's selective. You don't always reply right away. You don't accept last-minute improvised plans. You're not always online, and that raises your value without you having to say a word. What isn't easily accessible becomes more desirable, and your behavior speaks for itself. Your life naturally filters who belongs in it. She starts wondering, what is he doing? Why isn't he always around if he's not giving me the same priority anymore? And without confrontation, without speeches, without fights, the game reverses. It's no longer you seeking validation. It's her seeking your time. Subtle scarcity isn't playing with someone. It's respecting yourself. It's understanding that your time is sacred and that anyone who wants a place in your life must get that without you having to explain it. When you live this way, everything changes. Your energy shifts, your presence carries more weight, and the people who don't know how to value it simply fall behind. If this message added value to you, drop a like and subscribe. Every piece of content we share here is designed to help you grow, strengthen your character, and stop wasting your energy where it isn't respected. If you want to support this message and help it reach more men who need it, write "I finished the lesson" in the comments. It really helps push this content further. Thank you for being here, for working on yourself, and for choosing to evolve. Stay tuned because what's coming next is built to bring you even closer to your best version. Big hug and see you soon.